Today, we're here to remember the incredible courage of Ruby Bridges in 1960, when she was just 6 years old. Ruby became the first African American student to attend an all-white elementary school in New Orleans. Her bravery in walking through angry crowds escorted by federal marshals changed history and opened the doors for school integration in America.
Ruby's story is not just a story from the past. It's a reminder why we fight for equality and inclusion in our schools and is still important today. That's why every year on November 14th, the Bethel School District participates in Ruby Bridges' Walk to School Day to honor her bravery and remind ourselves that we all have a part to continuing her legacy.
By coming together to celebrate Ruby Bridges, we're showing that Bethel schools believe in fairness, equality, and making sure every student feels welcome and safe. Thank you for being part of this journey with us.
When I think about the life and legacy of Ruby Bridges, I think a lot about my own mother. Ruby and my mom are the same age. When we talk about the civil rights movement, we have a tendency to talk about a time way off in the past, but that's not true. Brown versus Board of Education was only 70 years ago. That Supreme Court case ended segregation in public schools. Now, while that was a law, it wasn't necessarily the practice everywhere. And the impacts still affect everyone today. We see it in test scores, graduation rates, and income inequality. My mom was the first of our family to go to school, get her bachelor's, and then go back and get her master's. And I plan on being the first in my family to get my doctorate.
One way that we can honor Ruby Bridges' legacy is by continuing to work intentionally to create a sense of belonging and inclusion in all of our school environments, making sure that every student feels like they belong and that they deserve to be there. I can actually think of two things. Another thing that we can do is to really examine our systems of oppression and make sure that we are taking a close look and taking them apart and making sure that our schools are not continuing to perpetuate harm, but are creating places of healing.
When I think about diversity and inclusion at my school, I feel happy knowing that there are things like BSUs and affinity groups for students of color or different races. It makes me feel pretty happy knowing that I can find my community and feel welcomed in that community.
When I think about Ruby Bridges walking into school in 1960, what stands out to me is her courage. She was just a little girl, and I'm sure she felt so scared that day, but she held her head high and walked right past everybody and did what was right. And it changed the course of history. As you learn about Ruby and her walk that day, I encourage you to think about how even though sometimes things might feel hard or scary, it's always best to do what is right.
If I had to walk in Ruby Bridges' shoes in 1960, I would not feel a sense of belonging. I would feel uncomfortable.
One thing that I am grateful for in school today that Ruby Bridges didn't have is to have a community that lets me be who I am.
One thing that I'm grateful that I have in my school that Ruby Bridges didn't have in her schools was the Black Student Union, because I'm thankful for being able to socialize with my Black peers.
My hope for the future is that all students, no matter their race or background, feel like they can show up as their full self, meaning that they feel safe, welcomed, included, and supported.
My hope for the future is that all students, no matter their race or background, can feel safe and respected in their school communities.
And my hope for the future is that all students, no matter race or background, can always feel welcomed and supported in the district.
Thank you for joining us for Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day, a meaningful event to honor courage, unity, and the strength that comes from standing together. As we walked in Ruby's footsteps, we renewed our commitment to making our schools a place where every student feels safe, valued, and respected. Your presence made a difference. Together, we took a step towards a brighter, more inclusive future in the Bethel School District. Thank you for being a part of history and helping to create change.